This is the InDesign demonstration on the resume. Again, as in Biography 1, we will open a letter-sized document. If you notice in the PDF that I uploaded about InDesign Project 2 resume, you'll see a screen capture of what the new document should be. So we will need to make it a print document, which may or may not appear in your dialog box. It did earlier, but it does not here. Don't select facing pages or master text frame. Do select letter, and again select margins of 1 inch. No bleeds. And again, I did not mention this earlier, but don't worry about the columns or the gutter. Since this is we're going to draw our own text boxes, we don't need those guides. So let's say OK to that. Now you will be supplying your own copy because this resume will be about you, your work and school experience. But as with the biography project, we need to draw a text box for the entire margin guides. Then again, I have the text ready. You may begin typing, or you may have text ready for your resume. I have that text here. Notice that that has come in, and if you go through, you'll notice that there are various selectors that I've given you as far as what size things should be. You may want to do this more or less like an assembly line. Go through each of the type sizes first and lettings. If the leading, by the way, below the type size is in parentheses, that means that it's automatic. But if below it, such as the second one where it says headings, 15-point type size and 14-point leading, you will actually have to make those changes physically. You'll highlight it and either select 14 or type in 14 for that. Notice the name is in 24-point, and it is bold in times. And it says 24-point in mine. Excuse me, I misread that. It's 20-point. So we'll have to physically type that in. And notice how the leading changed now to be the 24-point. Let's highlight, and you may want to highlight everything at one time and make the most universal type size change. It looks like most of the information is going to be the 12-point times regular. So I'm going to notice, and everything is at 12-point, but the leading, notice how the leading is only 14-point for the main body. So let's change that to 14. So that's tightened everything up. Then there is an indent for certain things that we'll have to change. Notice on the address and email here, let me do a return. We're going to highlight just these two lines, and then we're going to do the 1/4 of an inch. If you'll notice, it's the fourth one down on the left, right. Body copy will need a 1/4 of an inch indent. So actually, let's highlight everything, and then we'll just take the indent out for everything else. So this is a left indent at that size. Now objectives. This is where we will go back and change things. So now we're at 15-point, which we'll have to physically change because that's not a preset. And we will take the indent out. So now objectives is back at the left margin, and we will make it bold. And there's also, if you'll notice, the line of each section should have a space after. So here we will do a space after. Notice that's this tool right here, 1/8 of an inch. Then to use my work and educational experience to its fullest advantage, or full advantage, I'll do that. So each one of these will need to take the left indent out and then bold it. And then after the section is made, we'll need to also add some bullets to this. As with the biography, we'll have to do some spell checks and some changing of some characters. So the next 3 lines after Doe Designs, those will have bullets. Now that is accomplished either by going to your control panel where it says bulleted list, and you click. Or if that is not showing, because in some instances it does not, go to Type, Bulleted List, Apply Bullets. It's the same difference, but again, sometimes it appears in your control bar at the top, sometimes it does not. Again, we will need to make each section have some separation by doing that space after. Here, let's do the bullets. Then we don't highlight all of the lines, because if we do that, this is what will happen. All the lines spread out. So make sure that you're only on the last line ahead of the section that you want to space it out. Bullets, and then we just click and let go to spread this out. And again, it always helps to be on the right line. Now, education is another one of those sections. Work experience needed to be larger. Was it 15, I believe? Yes. Education is another one that needs to go to the left margin. Needs to be 15 and needs to be bold. And you'll continue working in this fashion until you have everything set. Now notice that when you have more than one line that just wraps, the bullet only applies to that first line. So it knows what needs to occur in that instance. Now let me show you something. If you happen to be on this line and you say, well, oh, I need to move up a line, you can actually do a space before of that 0.125 inches, or 1/8 of an inch. So it works technically the same. My feeling on that is you should always be consistent, because if you ever need to remove that, you would be confused if you clicked on that line and it did not appear. You wouldn't remember necessarily that you had applied it to the line below as a space before rather than after. And then we'll leave all of these before skills, and of course these other skills. Also, again, I don't really care for hyphenation, so I'm going to select everything, go to the paragraph window, turn off hyphenation, then go to this line, click on that, and I'm going to remove, there seems to have somehow been a space after applied there. I must have bumped something. Always there's a fix. And as one of my instructors told me, and I also tell my students, is that I don't know it all. I know a lot more than you probably do. So if you discover something that works for you, then that is perfectly all right. When you play around with these programs, you become the master of the program yourself, and you determine how best you like to work and change things. The last thing I want to do is notice, if you look at the example of the Jonathan Doe, and you may or may not need to do this yourself, is there was supposed to have been a bullet between Main Street, Anytown. You may do that simply by using the Option and 8 key to create that. Now, if there were other instances where that special character showed up incorrectly, you could just highlight it, copy it, and do the find and change, as I'm about to do right here. There should be a long dash after Doe Designs and also Happy Time Marketing. So I'm going to copy, or if you notice, Command C is copy, or if you happen to be on IBM, Control C will copy as well. Let's copy that. Go to Edit, Find Change. Let's paste that in, which is Command V. You'll notice Command V or Control V on IBM. And now Shift, I believe it's Shift Option underscore gives you the long dash. So let's change, make sure it says Search Document. Let's change all. Now it's changed 5 of them. Notice how Doe Designs, Happy Time, ATT, they're all there. Let's do a spell check. That will show us other characters that we may need to change. Unfortunately, it did not, so let's proofread it. It's always a good idea to proofread. Clients need, that's certainly an apostrophe that's missing. So let's highlight that. Command C. Command F is find and replace. I encourage you to start making note of these quick keys that will help speed your work up. Command F or Control F possibly on the IBM version of this program. And then here we'll do the apostrophe again. We'll change all. Found 4 of them. I noticed there was a circumflex over an N. That is the half dash. That's not the long dash, but it's close to. It's close to that one. It's only the option plus underscore. And so let's change all. Let's change 2 of those. And I believe that's all. Now, again, I may not have mentioned this, but I do check for spelling. That's one thing I will count off for since you have spell check. Now, that said, if there's a real word that is just the wrong word, I won't count off for that. And if you were typing a story and you meant to say your, Y-O-U-R, and you had you, Y-O-U, which was incorrect, but yet it was a correct word, a properly spelled word, and spell check didn't catch it, I won't count off for that. But do check. Obviously, if you're writing a word like receive, R-E-C-E-I-V-E, if it's I-E instead of E-I, then I'll obviously have to count off for that. So this again is all we need to do. Something I didn't catch, I usually don't like articles dangling, so if you want to make that return without a bullet, like if I hit return, I get a bullet. So hold the shift and return, and what that does is it forces the A down without creating a hard return, which would result in a bullet. So everything looks good. We'll save our file. Let us save as, and sometimes what I do is I'll click on an existing name of a document, but make sure that I go and then type a new name after it so that I can keep it separate. Then again, we'll export, and then once you've exported the file, you just, as PDF, you email it for your grade. Again, high quality print, marks and bleeds, crops, registrations. No bleed right now. We'll talk about that when we get into those instances. And export. And that is all for this demonstration of the resume. Again, if with any demos you have problems, please email me or post your question on the forum so that your classmates may see it. Thank you.